Hi, Mike Brantley, auctioneer. Here talking about auctioneers that have live auctions, and this also could apply to an auctioneer doing online auctions with a pickup at a certain location, premises, auction house, Grange Hall, banquet hall, VFW, you name it, wherever that auction is being held or wherever those items are being picked up. And do auctioneers have to provide a reasonably safe environment for their bidders? And I would hold that they do. Here's the issue. You, as an auctioneer, for a live auction, for example, or a pickup for that matter, are inviting people to come to your location, to your auction house, to a building, to a big open field, wherever it is. You're inviting them to come. Your advertising is an invitation to, hey, come to our auction. Come here to pick up your items. And as you are inviting the public to your location, you have a duty to provide a reasonably safe premises, a reasonably safe environment. So you can't have an extension cord laying across a walkway. You can't have water or oil or some chemical spilled on the floor that would create slippery conditions. Can't have sharp objects out in the open where somebody could get injured. You don't leave a gun laying on a table that's loaded, for example. Those would be not reasonably safe issues. So bidders come to your auction house and they assume no different than if they went, quite frankly, anywhere. They go to Walmart, Home Depot, any retail establishment, restaurant, bar. Do they expect reasonably, within reason, safe premises, area? They do. And auctioneers can be held that premises has to be reasonably safe and free from any unreasonable dangers. And those include things such as, well, do we have any slippery surfaces? Do we have any sharp objects? Do we have something you can trip over? Now, auctioneers don't have to guarantee that there'll be no issues, problems, injuries, but they do have to take what's seen as a reasonable step towards that endeavor. I've been involved in cases where the argument from the bidder who was injured at the auction facility said, I was injured because the auctioneer didn't provide a safe environment for me and did not warn me of unsafe circumstances that this bidder ultimately found himself. So think about, I'm asking auctioneers to think about, when you conduct a live auction at a house, at a barn, at a farm, at an industrial site, is it a reasonably safe environment? Now, I'm using the word reasonable, you may have noticed. And I kid with people all the time because courts and attorneys and I use the word reasonable because, well, in part, it's a subjective word. It's not an affirmative word that draws a specific line. But are you doing something that is considered customary practice or an industry standard or is seen as commercially reasonable? And we've talked about all those industry standards for auctioneers prior to this. So if most auctioneers provide a certain level of safety at their on-site auctions and you're in that marketplace and you're providing the same level of service and safety, one might argue successfully, that you were doing the reasonable thing. But you're going to be compared to what other auctioneers do. And oftentimes, when someone's injured, their attorney will review or analyze how you provided or did not provide a reasonably safe environment relative to what they find in the industry. And so, auctioneers, what's a good thing to do? Maybe before you invite people to a site, assess whether you can safely have people at that location. We've held on-site auctions for over 30 years. And one of the first things we do is look at the facility, the location, the premises, and decide, can we entertain, invite, have a crowd at this location? And we've had an auction house for over 20 years. And so we can choose, or at least advise a client as to the better place. We were out at a house the other day, and I said, you conceivably could have an auction right here. You've got enough in quality and quantity. That's kind of our baseline. But I'm not sure there's room for parking, and I'm not sure the facility lends itself to a large crowd. They said, we kind of see that. What's the alternative? I said, well, we have an auction house. We can send our truck. We can pick all this up. You can bring it down to us, what have you. Auctioneers need to have that discussion, because if the premises is not reasonably safe, then there shouldn't be an auction there. Online, well, you might be leaving the stuff in the house, selling it online, and having the people come back there. Can you have 200 people picking up all at the same time? Can you have 25 people picking up at the same time? Can you have anyone picking up at that location? All good questions, all considerations. And auctioneers are advised, and many of you do, to check that location to see, one, can we have an auction there? And two, can we have people picking up items at this location? Mike Brandy, Auctioneer. Pleasure to be with you today. Other videos on this same page, others forthcoming. Have a great day and stay safe.